Evening everyone, welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel if you're a regular and already subscribed. If you're not, make sure you smash it just now because we are going to be cooking. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a series of videos from now, which is going to be Kev Cooks, something I've always wanted to do on the channel, but just never got round to last year. So this year we're going to make it happen. And as you'll see from the thumb, today we're going to be making a really simple soup. The reason behind this is I need something for my lunches. So I thought, why not film it? You'll enjoy it as well. And it's going to be a spiced carrot and lentil soup. So the products can come from your local supermarket, wherever that might be. Mine is a mixture of Morrison's and Tesco, not sponsored. And I'll tell you what you're going to need for this so that you can do it as well. Dead simple. First of all, you're going to need some carrots, 600 grams of carrots. That's my carrots there. You're going to need some split red lentils. There you go. You're going to need some salt. You're going to need pepper. You're going to need some chili flakes. And you're going to need some cumin seeds as well. Also, you're going to need some oxo cubes. Vegetable ones are the ones it calls for in the recipe, so that's what I will use. But you can use chicken if you're desperate for chicken stock. The equipment you're going to need is obviously going to need a saucepan, a large one, for cooking the soup up. You're also going to need a little weighing scale to measure out your lentils. Grater for the carrots, unless you're going to chop them, but I'll come to that in a second. And a food processor that I'm yet to dig out of my cupboard, but when the time comes, that will come out as well. No naughtiness. Also, take to your work a little cup that I just bought today for my soup. Again, from my local supermarket, that is to be washed. So we'll go through it. I don't know how this video is going to turn out. I know how the soup will turn out because I've done that before. But hopefully over the period, these videos will get better and better. I've got a camera up behind me as well. Hello everyone. So hopefully you'll be getting a good shot of down onto the chopping board while I'm doing everything, as well as this shot here. This is my kitchen. I'll take you for a quick spin around. So apologies for the unfinished nature of it because it's not quite finished yet. I did fit it myself. There's a few little rough edges, my cooker, and I've still to change a few things, like the sockets need to get changed. They're covered in grout still at the moment. But yeah, kitchen's still to get finished. It's not quite done yet. Some rough edges are still to take and finish things off. Don't look up there. Ooh. Right, so so that's my kitchen and you're welcome to it. And without further ado, let's crack on with this soup. So a hand wash before we start. So I would say I'm a fairly clean cook. I do like to keep things tidy as I go, otherwise I get a bit messy in my own head and things tend to go wrong. That might happen to you as well, I don't know. So carrots, as I said, now I'm going to grate my carrots. This is 600 grams of carrots, just a 600 bag. And I'm going to grate my carrots, but if you want to keep your soup chunky, because it's going to get food processed in the end, then you might want to chop your carrots and you can keep them chunky. Mine are going to get grated because it is going to get blasted at the end and whizzed up into a nice smooth soup. So it's this time of year when you like to get something warm for your dinner, isn't it, rather than a cold sandwich or something like that. Me anyway, so that's why I just fancied doing a little bit of cooking and a little bit on the channel for you to all enjoy. If you don't like it, if you've got this far and you're going to get through to the end, well done. If you don't, then that's fine. You might just want to skip forward to the very end to see how it looks. So first of all, I'm going to measure out my split red lentils using my weighing scale here. And for the lentils, you're going to need 140 grams. So I'm just going to zero my little weighing scale there, get my skyros, which are in my nice chopping block, which is over there, which I got for Christmas. Not chopping block, knife block. So 140. In we go. Okay, I would say that is absolutely perfect. So that's pretty much how much split red lentils you're going to need. And I'm going to put them into a bowl so that I can put away my little weighing scales. And that gets them out the way. As I say, I like to tidy up as I go along. So that's them away. That's our red lentils. We can put them to the side for now. And we are going to need a litre of vegetable stock using a stock cube. I'll use a full stock cube for that. So I'm going to boil the kettle just now. So that's all ready. Get that done. So we'll get that kettle boiling straight off so I can get rid of my scissors. So we're going to start with the carrots first, but first of all, here's a little tip, as you'll see on this one here. Keep your chopping board from moving. You might know this already. Put a couple of damp kitchen towel underneath, and that'll stop the chopping board from moving on your surface if you're trying to chop. Obviously, I'm going to grate, so I'm just going to open my carrots up. So your carrots, obviously give them a wash, which I'll just do now. Maybe a big sieve, that'll make it easier. Get them in there, get that in there, get that in there, get that in there, get that in there, get it. So just a little knife to take off the ends of my carrot. I hope you can hear me with that kettle boiling. And I'll tell you the other amounts of the other ingredients as we're going along, as we're cooking. Now, this is not a long recipe at all. This should take a very short time to complete. It's about 15 minutes cook time, about 10 minutes for your prep. And it is adapted from a BBC Good Food recipe, and I'll put the link to the recipe up in the description in the bottom of the video. So if you want to follow it directly, you can. I do make a few little changes, I've done it a few times now, so I'd just like to add maybe a little bit more of the chili flakes rather than what it tells you in the recipe, just to give it a little bit more of a kick. It's all down to you about what you like to do and how strong you like your spiciness. Now, the recipe says you can make this Moroccan by substituting the chili flakes and cumin seeds for a few teaspoons of harissa paste, and you could add cooked shredded chicken at the end of cooking too. So if you want to make it Moroccan, that's what you do. The recipe will show you that as we go along. So I'm going to get me a bowl out. So there's our carrots ready to go, and in my best Sandy Tosvik, this is what we'll do. This is what we're gonna do. So as I said, if you want to keep your soup chunky, then you're going to chop your carrots as normal. If you're not, then there's no need to peel them. What I like to do is I just like to give them a check to make sure there's nothing nasty looking on them. There's a bit of a nasty bit there, so I'll just take that bit off with my knife. Get that off there. And just check, make sure there's no big chunky bits on that I don't like the look of, like that bit there, as you can maybe see on that camera behind me. Take that bit off. Any other bits that I don't like the look of? No, I think the carrots are all good from there. So I'm going to take my ends off. I always take my ends off anyway. I don't like having the ends on. So take all your ends off your carrots, and once you've done that, come back to me. So as I said, that really is just your preference. You might want to grate your carrots, you might not be able to live with them. So that is completely choice. If you want to peel your carrots, but there really isn't any need. And then all I'm going to do is just start grating them. So crack on with that. Leave the end on to give you something to hold on to. Like I said, 600 grams, which is normally just the bag you get in the supermarket with your carrots. This is probably actually where all your prep time is, in 10 minutes, is doing these carrots. My food processor would probably grate it, but that just means I have to clean more stuff after. So I'll just do it like this. Okay. There we go. So that is what 600 grams of grated carrots should look like. Let's have that out the way. Pop them there for just now. And I'm going to take a bit of kitchen roll, otherwise this will annoy me. Okay, so now I'm going to make up my vegetable stock. So that's ready to go, because we're pretty much ready to start cooking now. So I'm going to take one stock cube. This is my favourite bit because the foil always comes off in tiny bits. There we go. Oh, that's coming off in a wanna. Look at that. Give it a little bit of a squiddle up, just to get it easier to break down, rather than putting it in as a whole one. If you put it in as a whole one, it takes ages to break down. It's good to squish it up to begin with. I've got a cat playing with a bit of something, and this is 1 litre, as I said, so I've got my little measuring on the side there. So that is pretty much to the top of this jug. smell that going already. Give that a stir. And those stock cubes generally take a little while to break down. I'm sure you know that if you cook on a regular basis. If you want to make it a bit more vegetable, you can do. I'm going to add another half there because that looks a little bit diluted. It's all about your own flavours. So that is another half a stock cube I'm putting in there. 1.5 I'm using in there. You can use as much as you want. Doesn't really tell you how much to use in the recipe, but again, this is just down to your own preference. I've used 1.5 just to get it looking and smelling a bit nicer. That's better. Like I said, you can use chicken if you want, but I prefer to use the vegetable for this one anyway. So that's ready to blow. So get your heat on first of all, and we're going to dry cook some cumin seeds to begin with, and it is 2 teaspoons. I like to just take the top off when I'm doing this. I would say be careful how many of these you put in because it can be, the flavour can be quite overpowering with these cumin seeds. But you're going to put them in, and those are to cook until they maybe start to pop or fizz, or until they start releasing their aromas. So that's those in there. And along with that, we're going to put a pinch. It calls for a pinch of chili flakes, but again, I'm just going to judge that myself. Now be careful with your throat when you're doing this because this will catch right on the back of your throat. So just heat them, move them around a little bit until they start to release their aromas. You'll get the smell of that. As I said, be careful because that will catch your throat with those chili flakes. Try not to breathe it in. Move away to take a breath. Okay, once those are starting to release their aromas, okay, I'm happy with those releasing their aromas, so I'll turn that off just now. Now you want to scoop out about half of this into a little pot. Oh, my throat. The rest can stay in your pan, and set that aside. And then we're going to go back in. You're going to add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. About like that. Get your heat back on. So now we're going to add our carrots. Should do that the other way so you can see what I'm doing. Carrots, your lentils, your stock, hot stock, 1 litre. And one thing I did forget to tell you about was milk. So 125 mils of milk, which is about there. Get that in as well. Give that a stir. We're not going to put any salt and pepper in just now. We will leave that till the end. So you're going to bring that to the boil. So we'll let that come to the boil and then we'll crack on. Okay, so once it's reached its boiling point, which it now has, we're going to let it simmer for 15 minutes. So I'm going to turn the heat right down. And I am going to put my lid on. Now, it doesn't call for the lid, but I like to keep it a little bit juicy, and if you leave the lid off, it does tend to dry out a little bit, is what I've found. It doesn't tell you that in the recipe, but these things never do. So I'll put a lid on. You don't have to. If you want to leave it off, you can do. But back to me in 15 minutes. If you need to go and walk the dog, if you need to do the hoovering, put the washing on. I'll see you back then. Okay, we are back. 15 minutes has gone. This is what your soup should be looking like just now. So it's really, you're cooking it down 15 minutes or so until the lentils have softened up and it looks a little bit like that. Okay, so turn your heat off, that is you. And as you can see, I've now got my blender out on the table here. Take my lid off. Now this can be a tricky bit, so you're going to need a scoop. That's what I use anyway. Eventually you might be able to lift that up and pour it in depending on your skills, but we're going to transfer all of this into our blender. You might need to do it in 2 batches depending on how big your blender is. If you've got a stick blender, you can go in with a stick blender as well and do it like that. I've never had a stick blender. I don't know how clean or how messy that is. I've never tried. I've always used my food processor, so I'll transfer that across using my scoop and then we'll get blending. Always drop a little bit somewhere. I can't remember whether I managed to get all of this in my blender. I don't recall. I think I probably will. I would say go with your scoop to begin with. It does go everywhere, of course it goes everywhere. But try and get most of it in your blender. In your Splendor blender. And then for the last bit, I'm gonna go with a pour. So that's it all in, done. So now, get that down a little bit. Top on. And we're gonna go with a very slow blend. Okay, have a little check after a bit, see how it's doing. That's been going for about 30 or 40 seconds. Ooh, smells great. I'll just give it another little blast. Your blending is going to be up to you, depends on how fine or how chunky you'd like it to end up. I don't mind a little few chunks at the end of it. Okay, and then back into your pan. Oh yeah. Get every last bit out of there. Don't be shy. My dishwasher's going to be doing some work later. Okay, and that's what my soup looks like. So now it's down to you with your seasoning. I'm just going to put a little bit of salt in to begin with. Don't over salt, because you can always put more in if you need more. A little bit of pepper as well. Again, just see how it tastes first before you start putting too much seasoning in. Give it a stir-around. Get that all in. This is not on the heat, this is still off the heat. I've not got the heat on here now, this is still absolutely boiling. And then you're going to give it a little taste. For me, a touch more salt and a little bit more pepper. Like I said, don't overdo it to begin with, because you can't take it out once it's in. I know that's a stupid thing to say, but it's true. Another little stir about. Another little taste. I think I'll take another one just to check. One more just to make sure it's not poisonous. Blended, blended, blended. My soup is blended. Okay, get yourself a little bowl and get it tried properly. Okay, so the idea behind the extra little bits that you scooped out at the start, that is to sprinkle on at the end, just to give it that extra little bit of kick and pump and flavour. However, as I'm not going to be eating this for my evening meals, this is going to be taken into work, I'm just going to pour the rest of that in there. And then just stir it in. Okay, that is it. The only thing left to do now is to get stuck right in. So there we have it, everyone. Spiced carrot and lentil soup. Don't forget your bit of bread to dip in. No idea how the editing for this is going to turn out. I hope it turns out all right. I'll only get better the more of these cooking videos I do. But that is it. Like I said, good luck having a go at it. Leave me some comments, send me some pictures on my Instagram. Let me know how your soup turns out. Very intrigued to see how you'll get on. No, it's not my recipe, and no, we're not doing rocket science, everybody. And there will be a link to the recipe in the description. But you might be like me and are a visual learner and like to see somebody do something before you have a go at it yourself. So, there you go. Last thing to do, let's get stuck in. Oh, a bit of a dip first, I think. Oh, yeah. Now, I'm going to take this through and sit down and enjoy every little last drop of it. And we'll enjoy taking this to work with me for the rest of the week as an alternative to a cold sandwich. If you've got this far, well done. If your soup looks like mine and tastes as good as mine, you've done a good job. So that is us. There'll be more cooking to come on the channel, as well as all the other things that I'm going to be doing, including the music reactions. Don't forget those. Make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the like, and I'll see you back for some more videos.